Okay, so I got some feedback that maybe some of us are still struggling with substitution. So instead of moving on today, we're going to continue practicing the substitution method. We're going to do some practice today. Your homework is substitution. And last class, you had a worksheet that you did. Now, the answer key can be found on our Canvas homepage. So if you were to go and click on the link for yesterday, you would come to this agenda here. And this agenda, right, has the practice answers. And so if I click on that, 1 through 10, I did out for you all the steps so that it's really easy for you to look at and see the details. And maybe find your good mistakes. It's a little bit easier when you can see the whole process. Now, that page had a second side, so there were quite a few more, and I left you just an answer key for those. That just gave you the final answer. So for our practice for today, our notes, I'm going to do 3 of the problems from the other part of that paper. So if you did those problems, you may want to check them right now. I'm going to take a look at problems number 11, 12, and 13 on the practice from yesterday. So here we go. Let's get started. Number 11, just like in the warm-up, I have 2 equations. I need to isolate one variable. So I'm going to take this equation where I have the x, and I'm going to subtract 3y from both sides. And I end up with the equation. Let me rewrite it down here. I'm not comfortable with it being like that. Okay, so we're going to have x plus 3y equals 1. So I'm going to subtract 3y from both sides. And I'm left with x equals 1 minus 3y. Okay, so now that I have a new name for x, another way to say x is 1 minus 3y. I'm going to go to the second equation, and where I see x, I'm going to substitute that new name. So we've got -3 times 1 minus 3y minus 3y equals -15. Now I only have one variable, and I can solve this by following the steps we learned over the last month. -3 times 1, -3. -3 times -3y, positive 9y, minus 3y equals -15. I have to group together my like terms here. -3 plus 6y equals -15. Then I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Remember to use your calculator to try to avoid calculation errors. You end up with -12. I'm going to divide both sides by 6, and I end up with y equals -2. Now that I found the y coordinate, I know there's one solution. So I'm going to go back and substitute it in to figure out the x value. So here's the equation from the beginning that I'm going to use. Instead of y, I'm going to replace that with -2. We end up with x minus 6 equals 1. Add 6 to both sides, which means that x equals 7. My final answer will be the ordered pair that is the solution. These 2 lines will intersect at the point 7, -2. So if you tried that problem, see if you can find any of your good mistakes, or maybe you got it right. All right, let's take a look at number 12. So number 12 looks like this. Again, 2 equations. I'm trying to isolate a variable, so this second equation is set up nicely for me to do that, because if I add 5x to both sides, that y is going to be alone. Y equals 19 plus 5x. So now y has another name, 19 plus 5x. So I'm going to substitute that name for y into the other y the y in the other equation. So here we go. I'm going to change this color a little bit. So negative 3x minus 8. And instead of y, I'm going to put the other name for y, 19 plus 5x. And that equals 20. Make sure you have your calculator handy. So we have negative 3x. Now don't forget you have this negative 8 being multiplied in. I love all this practice of solving equations. Okay, so I'm going to use my calculator. Negative 8 times 19 is negative 152. So negative 3x minus 152 minus 40x equals 20. Right now, I have to combine like terms. So I have a negative 3x and I have a minus 40x. Group them together, you end up with negative 43x minus 152 equals 20. Now it's just a two-step. I'm going to add 152 to both sides. Negative 43x equals 172. I have to divide by negative 43. Again, I'm going to use my calculator. And I end up with negative 4. So that means this equation has one solution. I just found my x value. So I have to substitute it into either equation in order to calculate its y value. So negative 5x plus y equals 19. So negative 5 times negative 4 plus y equals 19. 20 plus y equals 19. And then I just need to subtract 20 from both sides. So y equals negative 1. So my ordered pair, the point where these two lines intersect, is negative 4, negative 1. So if you did number 12 on the worksheet yesterday and you didn't have a chance to check it, this is the correct answer. See if you got it right or if you can find your good mistakes. And then we're going to do one more, number 13. So here we go, number 13. So in number 13, I'm going to eliminate this negative x because I don't want to be working with a negative number. So I'm going to just add x to both sides, which means that this new equation will be y equals 3 plus x. So instead of y, I'm going to use 3 plus x. Remember, you have to substitute it into the other equation. So we have negative 3x plus 3 times 3 plus x equals 4. I have to distribute this 3. So negative 3x plus 9 plus 3x equals 4. And now I have to group my like terms. X's go with x's. And now I have a negative 3x plus 3x. How many x's do we have? 0 x's. That's right. So we're not even going to write them. They're gone. They disappeared. And so we end up with an equation that says 9 equals 4. I'm not sure if you remembered, but last time I did the notes, I said that if your variables disappear, it's a certain kind of situation. So my variable is gone and my sides are not the same. This is not true. So what this means is that there is no solution. If we were to graph those two equations on Desmos, these would be parallel lines. They would never intersect, and so they would have no solution. Okay, so today what you're going to do is you're going to work on the maze worksheet, which is practice doing substitution. You're going to do the work in your spiral. If you finish, you can start your homework, but you have to finish the classwork first. Hopefully, substitution is starting to make a little bit more sense to you.